Welcome back to another episode of our tools to help you reverse diabetes. If you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and create the life you've always wanted, going to the next level. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. Part of my platform is to educate, empower, and encourage, right? So education by giving information, by the shows that we do, the sessions that we have, the community meetups that we have, to empower. And empowering has to do with tools, and then of course encouraging as we build the community. So as part of that part of the tools or the empowerment, I've been doing a series entitled Tools to Help You Reverse Diabetes. And on our YouTube channel, we've actually created a playlist of all the tools that we use. Right now, there are applications, and you'll see there we've done the Libre 3, we've done the Dexcom. Last week, we did the Fit Index scale that I use. And today, we're going to be talking about another tool that I use that you've seen on my show. And if you haven't seen my show, you should get over there and take a look at it. But it is called Yuka. And Yuka is an app that you can download. They have a website that you can go to find out more about the information. But today what we're going to do is we're going to walk through, as we normally do, the Yuka app, and so that we can talk about some of the things that you will see there. So this is just hop right into it, right? So the Yuka app is an app that allows you to basically scan foods, and we'll do a couple of scannings today. You'll see I've got some things that I've brought with me, just some things that I randomly grabbed from inside of our pantry, and we'll scan those so that you can see how the app actually works. But basically what you do is you scan the food, and then the app gives you a breakdown of the contents of the food. And this actually is important, y'all, as we're talking about being healthy, talking about improving the foods that we eat, and talking about decreasing our processed foods. It's important to know what's in the food, and so this app allows us to do that. So why don't I just go ahead and we'll kind of walk through the app together so that you can actually see what is in there. So the first thing is, when you first come into the app, is you'll see a list of foods that you have eaten or foods that you've scanned, and you'll see there a list of things that I've scanned, and it's listed there under history. If you click on the favorites, you can actually go into each of these foods and favorite them. So for example, at that top, you'll see extra sharp white cheddar cheese. If I go into it, you'll see there the breakdown of all the components, right? And we'll come back and we'll talk about that in a second. But I can go down to the bottom and see it says add favorites. So I click on that, and you'll see that the star actually it was made black, and so that means that now is a part of my favorites list, right? But let's back up and go back to the list of foods. And for each of the foods that you have, you'll see it gives saturated fats, and you can actually go further into that, and it'll give you a scale on how positive, how negative that is. We won't talk about that component of it right now, but it gives you a rating based on that particular ingredient in the food. You can go to the sodium, you can go to the calories, right? So it lists these according to what it calls negatives and positives, and then down at the bottom it will give you recommendations and then options. So let's stay here with this sharp cheese, and we'll walk through each of these, right? So you'll see that per serving, it tells you a serving is 28 grams of this particular food. At the top of it, it gives you the name, the manufacturer, and it gives a score of, in this case, 32 out of 100, right? It's usually 100 out of 100 would be, of course, great. 32 of 100 is listed here as poor. So saturated fats, sodium, and calories, those are the components right now that it's listed as part of the negatives for this particular food, right? And that's because, of course, saturated fat is pretty high. Sodium is moderately high, And then, of course, calories, 120 calories per serving. And once again, a serving is 28 grams. In terms of positives in this case, you'll see there protein, right? So 5 plus protein, which is 6 grams. And then, of course, this has no sugar. Okay, so that is listed as a positive. And then one of the things that I like about this is that down at the bottom, it will also give you a list of recommendations of alternative products that you can use that are rated higher. If you remember up here, this was rated 32 out of 100, and down here is giving a recommendation for reduced fat Swiss cheese, and that one is 72 out of 100. And then, of course, it gives you all of the positives that are listed there, and then, of course, negatives. And in this case, negatives would be the fat. Okay, so we won't go into that food for now, but you can also, you'll see it says see all, right? So not only does it give you that recommendation, it gives you a list of recommendations, and then you get to go in and you can select the alternate food that you want to look at, see, and maybe even go out and purchase. Okay, so once again, not only does it give you the breakdown for this food, but it also gives you recommendations for other foods that you can look at. Okay, down at the bottom for each of the foods, of course, there's favorite, and you can once again hit that, and that becomes a part of your favorite list, which we'll go and we'll take a look at in a minute. Food preferences. This is one that I like, but this is a feature that requires a subscription, and the subscription really is a how the way they do the subscription is you get to pick how much you want to pay, and it's on a yearly basis. And so I have a subscription, and if you go into subscription, you'll see that you can put in food preferences. So for people who may be vegetarian or vegan, people who want to avoid palm oil, in my case, I click gluten-free because we have a gluten-free person in our home. You can hit lactose-free, and then other things that are coming that they're working on. If you click on other preferences, you can go in and you can select additional things that you want to put in as either as allergies or other preferences down at the bottom, right? You can enter a food preference. You can say, for example, I want to, limit cheese, right? And you'll click it, and it'll tell you whether that's a valid thing that you can do, and then you'll have that saved. There are dietary habits at the top there. You know, if I'm pregnant, if you're a pregnant woman, without pork, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can go in and you could put preferences, which I really like, because it really allows you to customize, right? So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to actually take out, I'm not pregnant. And let's see what else. So I'll leave that, and then I'll take these guys out and leave just the gluten-free. Okay. And then you can actually delete this particular food from history. Let me not delete that one, but let me go find one. Maybe I'll do this guy. So I'll go down and I'll delete that one. Right, so it deletes that from the history, so that's now gone. And I just did that so you can see. And what they do also is here they go in and they describe how they do the scoring method, and the scoring method is is based on nutritional value, and there's a method for coming up with the nutritional value. It looks at calories, sugar, salt, saturated fat, protein, fiber, fruits, and of course vegetables. Okay, then it looks at additives, and you'll see that there, and those additives are listed either red as hazardous, moderate risk is orange, limited risk is yellow, and of course risk-free is gluten. And the standards are based on information that's gathered by varying sources, right? The European Food and Safety Authority, the National Agency for Food, Environmental and Occupational Health, International Agency for Research on Cancer, and recognized scientific studies, right? So those are the places where they're pulling information from. And then, of course, the organic nature of the product. Okay, so you can go in and you can see and you can read up on how this is done, so you can really do an in-depth evaluation of the app itself, and of course the things that they're doing. Okay, so that's the list of foods, right? This is the history. These are all the foods that I've scanned, and a lot of these are things that that we actually have in our home or eat. And so what I started doing was I went into our pantry and I just started scanning. I haven't completed everything, but you'll see there a list of a lot of things that we may have in our cabinet, in our pantry. There are a couple of things that I scanned at the store that we don't usually use, and I did that. I think I was doing a show or something, but at any rate, these are some of the things that we have. So anyway, so that's the history, which is the first menu. Next, you'll see recommendations, right? Which I really like, because for a lot of the things that I may have scanned, it now gives recommendations. Now, we saw the extra sharp cheese, and you saw the recommendation there, the list of things that it has. So for each of the items that you scan, it will give you alternatives. So for instance, let's look at this Lowry seasoned salt, right? So it's listed as poor, 30 out of 100. And that's because in this case, it has refined salt, it has table salt. Let's see, because it's giving an indication of what's wrong with the refined salt. And then of course, it gives a recommendation for an additional products that I can use. Right, Trader Joe's seasoned blend. It's saying it's 50 out of 100. Right, so no anti-caking agents, unrefined salt, and a combination of sea salt. So then you can go and you can look at each of those products and decide whether you want to try them. So this is a really good one. I do use a lot of smoked beef sausage. So right, it's telling me that I can use some chicken andouille sausage, and it's a 57 out of 100, where the brand that I was using was 0 out of 100. Wow. Additives, saturated fat, sodium. Okay. So it's actually been very, very enlightening, y'all. Yeah. Very enlightening to watch and see some of the foods that we normally eat and get some additional information. Okay. And then I'm going to skip over the scan for a minute, because we're going to come back to that one. But if you go to the tops, and so here under the tops menu, it gives you a list of top products that the manufacturer or these are people at the app think are top products. And you'll see there, first let's go over the foods, because that's what we're talking about. A list of soups, and you'll see it gives you a list of soups based on their rating, and all of these are considered to be good, excellent, and so forth, because you'll see there that that they're green, right? So 100 out of 100, there's a 94 out of 100, 90 out of 100, and you can go through and look at different other different products, right? So we've got candies, we've got peanut butter, what else we've got? We got ice cream, right? Let me see what's under here, because you guys know ice cream is my thing, right? I love ice cream. That's my kryptonite right there. Yeah, and of course I don't see my favorite brand, but that's okay, right? I'm gonna have to try some of these. Let's see what else hot sauces, right? So I love hot sauce. So here's this is not, let's see, is this the same one that we have? No, we have the restaurant style, but I think it was 60 something out of 100 anyway, right? So that's hot sauces. What else do we have on here? So okay, those are still hot sauces. Let's see, fruit and yogurts. Right. Of course, my brand, I don't see it here either. Of course, yeah, it's always very sweet. So I guess I wouldn't have expected it. And mixed berry jams. All right. So if you like peanut butter and jelly, so here are some jams that you can use that are listed here. The other thing, and let's go back up to the top. They also talk about beauty products. That's not in our, that's not something that we have been talking about in terms of our food, but the app also has the ability to go in and give you a list of different beauty products that are rated according to the designers and the people who make this app. Okay, so once again, these are based on their recommendations. You can go in and you can actually search products. Let me see, peanut butter. Right, so you can search. Did I put okay, I put peanuts, not peanut butter. Let me do that. Let me go back. Peanut butter. Okay, and so it'll list peanut butter, and it'll list various products of various companies' peanut butter, and you can go in and see what you like. Now, I do have some peanut butter here to the side that we're going to scan here in a minute, but one of the ones that we use a lot is Jif peanut butter, and you'll see that listed as 39 out of 100. Wow. And Jif again, 39 out of 100. Now here's a natural peanut butter creamy. This is the Jif. This is the natural version. It was listed at 60 over 100. So you get a flavor for some of the foods, and yeah, it'll be interesting, right, to get this app and just go into your pantry and start scanning and just seeing what everything is. Okay, all right. So let's now go back, and I'm going to. That's not what I wanted to show. I wanted to scan the foods. So now let's go back and let's take a look at some of the foods that we have, and let's see, let's do it this way. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm gonna start to get some of these out of the way, and we'll just pick one and we'll start and go through the list. So right now this is pace salsa, restaurant style. And let's go ahead and we're gonna click it, and then you scan it, and it tells you what the food is. You'll see there, and I'll just go ahead and I'll scan all of the ones that I have, and then we'll kind of come back and we'll look at them. So basically, you hold up the barcode and it scans the item, just like we're doing now, and then we'll come back. Let's see. Come up with a picture for that one. So let's see what these items look like. Okay. Wait a minute. So it says that it couldn't find. There we go. Awesome. All right. So that is our list. So now let's go through and let's evaluate the things that we just looked at. So Boston baked beans. Now this one is a little surprising to me, guys, right? I'll tell you why in a minute. So you see there at the top, it says gluten-free, and that gluten-free is based on, you remember I put in gluten-free as one of my preferences. So it's telling me that, hey, this food fulfills that particular preference. So protein, right? So I have a fair amount of protein. We have good fiber, calories, saturated fat, 0, sugar, 13 grams of sugar per serving, right? So low impact, and then no additives. And then under the negative, those were the positives. Under the negatives, you'll see there it has sodium, 579.12 milligrams of sodium, and this is per serving. Okay, and the serving is 130 grams. Let me see if I go back to, and let's do this. I want to go back to that view for a minute. Where are we? And you probably can't see this. What I wanted to do was kind of just look at the servings, and I can't do it that way. Let me see if I can do it this way. easier to, okay, there we are. So you'll see there that a serving 130 grams, which is a half a cup. Right. See if that's focused. Yeah, 100 and 140 calories per serving. And this container, this can, has 6 servings of this product, of the Boston baked beans, or Bush baked beans, I should say Boston. That's another brand. Okay, and this is the vegetarian version. It has tangy tomato sauce with brown sugar and spices, is what's in this one. Okay. And let's go back there for a second. So we'll that's part of our evaluation and part of what we do here on the channel. We will do a show, and we've done a show actually on reading labels, but we'll come back and do another one so that we can get a good sense of how to do that. Okay, if you've not done so yet, go ahead and watch the one. I think it's in one of our playlists on the channel. Okay, so let's go back now and take a look at our foods that we just scanned. So these beans, I'm actually going to add that to my favorite, right? And because that's one that we do a lot of. Mandarin oranges, this version, this is Libby's, and I'm not sure why it didn't come up with the picture, but anyway, it's gluten-free, as you see there, and that's one of my preferences I put in. So no additives, 81 calories per serving, no saturated fat. It does have some sodium, and then sugar, 16.99 grams of sugar per serving. I'm going to actually put that also on my favorites list, because that's one that we use a lot. And then Walker's Wood. This is a traditional Jamaican seasoning that we use. It is gluten-free, as you see there. And one of the negatives on this is that it has 540 milligrams of sodium. Okay. Positives, 5 calories per serving, no saturated fat, small amount of sugar, and then no additives. And down at the bottom, and I didn't say that, let me go back for a second and show down at the bottom here, there were no additional recommendations for this one, right? This was the vegetarian beans that we had. It's 75 out of 100, so it didn't give me a recommendation. Here for the Walker's Woods, it did give me a recommendation down at the bottom that was 90 out of 100. Okay, and then if I say see all, it'll give me additional recommendations for various other types of seasonings. None of these are Jamaican seasonings, so if you want to cook a particular type of food, then you would have to find alternative seasonings that do the same thing, right? In this case, these guys don't do what that particular one does, so I have to go out and find a different type of seasoning. Okay, chickpeas is one that we do quite a bit. I love it, and you'll see there all the positives, and it is not listed, by the way, y'all, as gluten-free, which is interesting. 100% vegetables, 6 grams of protein. It's got fiber, 120 calories per serving, no saturated fat, no sugars, and then of course sodium, 340 milligrams of sodium, and it does have some additives down there. That's moderate risk. You can click in and get more information about the additives, and it tells you, gives you a breakdown of the things that are in the food, right? So E385, calcium disodium, right? And you can read through those. All right, let's see what else. We did the peanut butter and Peter Pan peanut butter, 54 out of 100. There are positives there, the negatives there, and then this is not one I'm going to put on my favorites list because we have it. This is not the brand that we normally use. We usually use Jif. Okay, so I'm not going to put it on my favorites, but it may be something that we add. And then of course salsa. I love salsa. If you like spicy food, hey, we just happen to use paste quite a bit whenever we buy. That's probably the one that we go to. It just is. And you'll see the breakdown of the information there. And of course, this one, of course, is listed as gluten-free. I'm surprised that, like I said, the chickpeas were not listed as gluten-free, and I'm not sure why that was. I'll have to kind of do some more research. Yeah, okay. Sometimes if you have foods that are made in a facility that processes other things, then they'll say that. And I'm looking at the can right now, and I don't see that on the. And so okay, so those were the 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4. Yeah, those are the 6 things that we just scanned. Okay, and that gives you a pretty good breakdown of the foods. Now, let's hop into one of these. Actually, let's find one that's not listed as. Okay, let's look at this guy right here. And what I want to do is I want to look at additives. Okay, so in this case, and remember, in this other case of, which one was it? I think it was the peanut butter that we had the one additive. Now this one is saying that there are 10 different additives. And I just picked this one at random. I have nothing, we have this product, so obviously we eat it. So if you go into the additives, it'll give you a list of all of the various additives that are in that product, and it'll give you their rating, right? So E102 at the top, it'll show you what it is and why it is believed to be hazardous, right, with that rating. And it says it's believed to cause hyperactivity and attention deficit disorder in children when combined with sodium benzoate. Okay, so you can go through and you can read all of those different additive products. And like I said, this is one of the reasons that I like this product, because it allows you to do a deep dive into the foods that you're eating. Awesome. All right. And then I do want to go back and take a look at the website just briefly, because you can get over there as well. And, it gives you a description of the app, and you can download it. I don't know if this app is available on the Android. I'm not sure. You'll have to check into that. But you can scan. It gives you a food analysis, cosmetic analysis, gives you recommendations. Of course, you can store that information. Talks about the team that is developing this. You can go through and you can read about all the people that are involved. As I mentioned before, I have no affiliation with them. Someone just recommended this app and I've used it and I've really liked it. So I'm giving you a list of all the apps, all of the devices and tools that I currently use. Talks about their core values and why they do what they're doing. And then they actually even have a blog, which I really like, the way you can go in and you can talk about different foods. Okay. I've not spent a lot of time on their website looking at their recipes and so forth. So you can talk about food basics, right, which is very important. Do a close-up where you can actually talk about various products, cooking without losing nutrients, and top vegetable soups and so forth. And then of course recipes. Okay. And you can go through and you can take a look at all of those. Awesome. So I love that. That gives us a good overview, I think, of the Yuka product, and it's YUKA, by the way. And so I really like it, and I hope that you will, as we continue our quest to become healthy and to put our diabetes in remission and to improve our health and all the things that we are working on, that you continue to use the tools that are available for you so that you can continue to track anything that you want to change, anything that we want to improve. We've got to be able to know whether we are doing a good job of in the process, right? So if you've not seen our show yet on SMART goals, we're going to do another one coming up here in just a few weeks. But if you have a goal, one of the ways that we want to make sure that we're achieving the goal is to make sure that it is measurable. And when we have tools, the tools help us in terms of measuring and in terms of doing the things we want to do. and get to the place we want to get to. So as we continue our journey for health, I want to make sure that you get out to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you get to the playlist. Remember, tools to help reverse your diabetes. And in that list, we're adding more tools. And these are the tools that I'm using, right? I'm personally using these in my health journey and as we talk, right? So we're putting these in the playlist, and make sure you get out there. If you see something that you like, go ahead and use it. We'll continue to add, right? So it is a growing process. And if you have tools that you use that you'd like me to try, I would love to do that because I'm always looking for things that we can help our community. Anyway, I'm glad that you're here. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level, creating the life you've always wanted. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. We'll see you at the next video.